Some people will only value your kindness when it's gone. We grow up being told to be kind, to always be the bigger person, to forgive endlessly, and to carry others even when our own knees tremble. But the harsh truth is, not everyone deserves that softness. Not everyone sees your goodness as something to respect. Some see it as a tool, a weakness, a way in. You offer help and they ask for more. You give your time and they waste it. You open your heart and they step on it without a second thought. It's not about becoming cruel. It's about becoming careful. The world doesn't owe you fairness just because you're kind. And you don't owe anyone your energy just because they demand it. Being kind to everyone might feel noble, but in the end, it can leave you drained, disrespected, and forgotten. Wake up. Be aware. When you give kindness without limits, people begin to expect it as a right, not a privilege. They stop seeing your efforts as sacrifices and start labeling them as your obligations. You'll notice how fast they disappear when you say a no just once. That's when it hits you. They were never around because they valued you. They were around because you gave them something they wanted: comfort, attention, help, validation. The moment you set a boundary, they vanish and you're left wondering if you were ever appreciated at all. Stop being kind to everyone. Choose wisely. Not everyone deserves access to your heart. Let your kindness be reserved for those who don't misuse it. You are not a resource for others to exploit. You are a human being with needs, emotions, and limits. Guard your kindness like treasure, because that's what it is. Precious, rare, and too many people will steal it without ever giving anything back. Kindness without boundaries is self-destruction in disguise. It teaches people that they can treat you however they want, and you'll always come back smiling. They'll lie, manipulate, disappoint, and you'll keep giving them another chance, thinking it's the right thing to do. But kindness without self-respect is not kindness, it's surrender. You are not here to be stepped on. You're not a doormat for others' bad behavior. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. If you keep being kind to those who hurt you, they'll keep hurting you. That's not your destiny. It's your decision. Start showing up for yourself. Show kindness to the person in the mirror. Once you understand your own worth, your kindness will stop being a default setting. It will become a conscious gift, not a burden. You don't owe kindness to people who have shown you cruelty. Forgiveness is one thing, but foolishness is another. You've forgiven people who never apologized. You've helped people who never asked how you were doing. You've comforted those who disappeared when you needed them the most. Why? Because you believed being good meant being available always. But now it's time to unlearn that. Stop feeling guilty for withdrawing your kindness from those who abuse it. You're not responsible for fixing everyone. You are not the answer to everyone's problems. And being kind to the wrong people can become the biggest problem in your own life. Save that love, that compassion, the grace for those who reciprocate, who care, who show up. Your kindness should be earned, not exploited. There is strength in silence. Sometimes walking away without explanation is the kindest thing you can do for yourself. You don't have to explain why you no longer want to be around someone who constantly drains your energy. You don't need to justify setting limits. People who get offended when you set boundaries are exactly the people you need those boundaries for. Be kind, yes, but start with being kind to your own soul. Protect your peace like your life depends on it, because it does. Kindness is a limited resource. Use it wisely. Give it to the broken, the sincere, the grateful, but never to those who see you as replaceable. You're not here to be everyone's solution. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for someone is to let them deal with the consequences of their own actions. That's not cruelty, that's reality, and it's long overdue. You weren't born to constantly apologize for who you are. Stop dimming your light to make others comfortable. Some people will never clap for you, no matter how kind you are to them. They will mock your dreams, belittle your success, and laugh at your pain, yet you still try to win them over with kindness. Why? It's time to stop. Stop. The people who truly care for you will never need your kindness to be convinced of your worth. They'll see it naturally. Your value isn't tied to how much you give. It's tied to who you are. So stop giving endlessly to prove something. You've proven enough. Now it's time to protect your spirit. Give less to those who don't value it, and more to yourself. That's not selfish. It's survival, it's maturity, it's growth. The real ones won't need to be impressed by your kindness. They'll already respect your spirit. But you've been taught that being kind will automatically bring kindness in return. I know, cool. It doesn't always. Sometimes it brings betrayal. Sometimes it brings pain. You'll give someone your trust, and they'll sell it for convenience. You'll offer your loyalty, and they'll trade it for attention from someone else. And yet you stay kind, hoping they'll change. But what if the lesson was never about them changing? What if the lesson was about you realizing that your kindness must have discernment? Being kind doesn't mean tolerating disrespect. It doesn't mean staying silent when you're hurting. Let your kindness be fierce. Let it come with standards. Let it walk away when it's not being valued. Every time you say yes to someone who drains you, you're saying a no to your own well-being. Being kind doesn't mean you must always be available. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is say a no, not because you're rude, but because you're real. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and you've been pouring for too long. You've turned into a reservoir for everyone's emotions. But when it comes time for you, the world is silent. Learn to say no without guilt, without explanation, without hesitation. That's power. That's kindness to yourself. And that's the only way to ensure that your kindness continues to come from a place of strength, not from exhaustion, fear, or obligation. If you keep giving pieces of yourself away, eventually there'll be nothing left for you, and the world will not thank you for it. It'll simply move on to the next giver. You deserve to be whole. You deserve rest. You deserve to be treated with the same respect and love you offer others. But none of that will happen until you stop giving to those who don't give back. Kindness should never cost you your self-worth. It should never make you question your value. When you begin to protect your energy, you'll see who is really there for you and who was there for what you offered. Choose wisely. Stop being kind out of fear of being alone. Sometimes solitude is the space where your soul finally learns to breathe. Kindness becomes dangerous when it silences your voice, when you don't speak up for fear of hurting others, yet they have no problem hurting you. That's not kindness, that's self-erasure. You were not created to be invisible. You were not made to shrink yourself into someone else's comfort zone. Your thoughts matter, your feelings matter, and your limits matter. Say what needs to be said. Let people know when they've crossed the line. That's not rude, it's necessary. If your kindness doesn't include standing up for yourself, then it's not complete. Complete kindness defends itself. Complete kindness has a backbone. Be that kind. Not the kind that stays quiet in pain. Not the kind that keeps giving while breaking. Be the kind that walks away when it must and speaks when it should. There's a difference between being kind and being used. And once you start recognizing it, your life changes. You'll see through the sweet talk. You'll recognize the patterns. You'll stop falling for people who only remember you when they need something. You'll stop wasting time on those who never ask how you're doing, because you'll know that true kindness isn't just about giving. It's about wisdom. It's about knowing when to give and when to withhold, when to stay and when to leave, when to stay and when to leave, when to stay silent. And when you master that, your kindness becomes powerful. It becomes respected. It becomes protected. And most importantly, it starts flowing in both directions, toward you and from you. That is the kindness worth keeping. In the end, kindness should never be something you feel forced to give. It should never leave you empty, questioning your worth, or regretting your decision. It should bring peace, not pain, strength, not sacrifice, love, not loss. You were not created to be broken in the name of being good. You were not sent here to be everyone's cure while your soul quietly suffers. You matter. Your heart matters. And how you treat yourself sets the standard for how others treat you. So stop being kind to everyone. Start being kind to yourself. Choose who gets access to your energy. Choose who gets to stay in your life. And above all, choose to protect your heart. Because once you do that, everything changes. Your peace returns. Your strength grows. And your kindness finally begins to heal, not harm. When you stop being kind to everyone, you start being honest with them and with yourself. You stop pretending to be okay with things you're not okay with. You stop laughing at jokes that hurt you. You stop saying it's finer when your heart is screaming that it's not. Too often, we wear a smile to cover the ache, thinking that being the nice one will win people over. But it only wins silence, neglect, and eventually disrespect. Kindness without truth is a cage. You're not meant to suffer in silence to keep the peace. Real peace comes when your soul no longer has to fake it. Stop performing, stop pleasing, You're not alive to be liked by everyone. You're alive to be real, to live fully, to love deeply, and to protect yourself fiercely. Real kindness starts with truth. Speak it, live it, and let it push away what was never meant to stay. There's a special kind of freedom in learning to say, I'm not okay with that. It's a moment when your kindness matures. It evolves from being automatic to intentional. The world will try to guilt you. They'll say you've changed, that you've become cold, arrogant, too distant. But don't listen. That's the voice of entitlement, not love. What they call arrogance is really self-respect. What they label as a coldness is your new boundary. And what they call a distance is simply your healing. You're not abandoning anyone. You're just returning to yourself. You're allowed to protect your space, or you're allowed to step back. You're allowed to give yourself what others refuse to. Don't apologize for evolving. Growth always makes people uncomfortable, especially those who benefited from your lack of boundaries. Let them talk. Let them talk. Let them go. You don't owe anyone a version of yourself that only exists for their comfort. You've been conditioned to believe that love equals sacrifice. That to be loved, you must overextend, overgive, and overstay in places where your soul is withering. But love isn't supposed to cost you your identity. If your kindness is only appreciated when it comes with silence, submission, and suffering, it's not love that you're giving, it's your freedom. Stop confusing the two. Real love celebrates your voice. Real love doesn't need you to break yourself to prove your worth. It's okay to pull back. It's okay to take up space. You are not selfish for wanting peace. You are not wrong for wanting balance. And you are definitely not cruel for walking away from those who can't meet you with the same energy. Your kindness is beautiful, but it should never become your prison. Every act of kindness should start with one question. Will this cost me my peace? If the answer is yes, step back. You are not responsible for other people's healing. You're not obligated to fix what they refuse to repair in themselves. You're not here to constantly rescue those who drown by choice. Sometimes kindness looks like walking away. Sometimes it means letting people face the storm they've created. And that's not unkind. That's truth. That's maturity. You cannot heal anyone by breaking yourself. The most powerful thing you can do for those you love is to let them take responsibility for their own lives. Stop interrupting their consequences with your compassion. Let your kindness be wise. Let it be strong. And let it finally start protecting you the way you've always protected others. There comes a day when you no longer want to be the hero in everyone else's story. You just want to be safe in your own. That day changes everything. You begin to see the weight you've carried, the masks you've worn, and the energy you've spent keeping everyone else afloat. And you realize you're exhausted. You've stretched yourself thin trying to be enough for people who were never satisfied. And in the process, you forgot what it felt like to be enough for yourself. Let this be the day you stop begging for appreciation. Let this be the day you stop proving your worth. You don't need to chase anyone who can't recognize your value. You don't need to explain your absence to those who never noticed your presence. Choose you. Choose your sanity. Choose your joy. Because you've been choosing others for far too long. It's your time now. When you stop being kind to everyone, you begin to attract better people into your life. Real ones, the kind who notice your silence, who check in when you go quiet, who don't just take but give, who don't just talk but listen, and who don't just show up when they need something, but stay when you need them. These are the souls who respect your boundaries, value your energy, and never make you feel like you're too much or not enough. You'll begin to notice that your circle gets smaller, but richer. Because when you stop giving your kindness to just anyone, you leave space for those who actually deserve it. Protect that space. Fill it with people who make you feel seen, heard, and loved without condition. That's the true reward of being selective with your kindness. It attracts the kind of love that doesn't drain you. It fills you, grows you, and honors you. So from this day forward, stop giving your kindness to everyone. Start giving it to those who see it, respect it, and return it, because your peace, your heart, and your soul are worth protecting.